All right, everyone, we're going to be doing a betting preview for the Colts versus Ravens preseason game, right? This is the preseason opener minus the Hall of Fame game. So the story of this and the story of this game to me comes down to the QB position, and that's all we're really going to be talking about because it's important to set the stage as to what we're looking at. So on one side, on the Colts side, you have a QB competition between Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones. Now, both of these quarterbacks have been hit or miss so far in their time in the NFL, right? Anthony Richardson has played some really good games, and he's had a lot of really bad moments. Daniel Jones won a playoff game, right? He's had some really good games, also had some really bad moments, right? And both of them so far have probably had more bad moments than the good ones. But they get a chance here to show their stuff, right? Both of them are going to be playing significant amount of time. I read that Anthony Richardson will be the starter. So if you're low on Anthony Richardson, let's say you're someone who thinks, okay, Daniel Jones, I like him better than Anthony Richardson in this setting. You may want to wait a little bit before betting this because Anthony Richardson is slated to get the start. So if he starts, they can't really, do a lot of big time stuff. Maybe this line moves and you can get in live for a better one. On the flip side of this, you have the Ravens. The Ravens are starting Cooper Rush. Now, Cooper Rush is expected to get pretty decent amount of time because they want him to get accustomed to the offense. And this is just what I'm reading in reports. I don't have insider knowledge or anything like that. It's just reading the reports are claiming this. So that could not be true, right? But it seems like they want to get him accustomed to the offense. And we know Cooper Rush is one of the best backups in the league, if not the best backup. When he had to go in there for the Cowboys, he always was able to produce at a pretty decent level for a backup quarterback. So that's where I think the question comes in for the Ravens. Because let's be honest, this game, I look at it and I go, this is telling us to bet the Ravens. We've already seen severe line movement in favor of the Ravens, right? I don't know if it opened this way, but like when I checked about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago, the Ravens were favored by one. Okay, this is basically a pick 'em, and now it's a 6 point difference. So you got significant line movement in favor of the Ravens here. So the question comes down to, do you think Cooper Rush, his kind of the fact he's a veteran, he's been the most consistent certainly out of all of these quarterbacks that we're talking about right now? Is that going to be enough to cover this 6 point spread? So one thing I'll say is, I've always been told that when you have that kind of line movement, you bet that side. But I'm someone who's pretty high actually on Daniel Jones. And I think what I'm going to be doing is betting it actually live rather than betting it before because I'd prefer to see, and this could come back to bite me, right? Because maybe Anthony Richardson plays well, they get up and the line moves. But I could see Cooper Rush picking up this offense pretty consistently. I could see Anthony Richardson looking good, but just not doing enough to move this spread. And then as Daniel Jones is playing, worse competition when he comes in, I could see him playing very, very well, having a very, very good Colt preseason debut, and this 6 point spread being covered. Like I said, that flies in the face of a lot of things I've been told and I've just done in the past when you have such line movement. But I still think there's something to be said about that. But remember, and this is what we're going to be doing a lot of on this channel, I want to give you both sides. I want to give you all the arguments so you can kind of make an informed bet on this. And I really think that's where this game is going to come down to is which QBs on either side, are going to be in rhythm the most. So another thing you can consider is these quarter and full-time bets. So what this basically is the first quarter, who wins the first quarter, and then who wins the game. So obviously the Colts and the Ravens winning, that gets you to plus 900, right? One of the interesting things here, if you're talking about what bet you may place, well, if you're someone who thinks, I like the Colts in the first quarter, I like the Colts to win the game, but I don't like the odds we're getting now, well, this kind of gives you a free roll on the Colts, right? If you want a money line play on the Colts, this gets you close. This gets you a little bit close, right? You could also consider this one right here. Because what does this give you? Ravens, Colts. So this would be the Ravens winning that first quarter and the Colts winning the game. You could also do tie, right? I mean, there are a lot of different options here for how you could play this if you think If you're not comfortable with this, but you think the Colts are on the money line here, you can consider, getting much better odds. These are all plus odds. If we go to halves, this is the first half. This is another way. If you're a little bit nervous about the 6, 3.5 at the halfway point, consider it, right? You could definitely consider it. The Ravens also. I mean, I think people would probably put on the full game, but maybe you think, look, I don't know how long Cooper Rush is going to play, so I would prefer to do this in the first half. Makes a little bit of sense. You can also consider these totals, because if you think, there's going to be a lot of scoring because you like the quarterback play, fine. If you think there's not going to be because both of these teams are going to be kind of struggling to get things going, consider the under on that. Going to the quarters, this is another one. Look, this is the first quarter, right? So you can go ahead and you could take a look and say, okay, we think it's going to be minus 0.5 here. Very easy bet. You don't have to kind of fool around with the game total. So these are a lot of the things you could look at. I definitely think this is a game that has potential, and I could really see arguments on both sides as to why to bet them. What I'm probably going to do, and we'll update in the community page if we have to, or in the comments of this video, wherever we end up doing it, is I'm really probably either going to be betting this live or looking down to here, just because I'm a little bit scared about this number. I'll be honest. It's not that I'm scared about the 6. I'm scared about the fact that we went from the Ravens being, favorites to the Colts being 6-point favorites. Once again, there's reasons, right? Guys get ruled out. I get it, but it's just anytime you see that kind of line movement, it really makes you think, man, we missed a ton of value, and now we're really doing a lot of work here. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.